Chris and Ryan, and we know that you're dying to hear what we have to say today. I say we hear what we have to say today. It's the blank. Fill it in. Fill it in. Fill it in. Yeah.
Go.
We're good to go.
We are. I believe we're good to go this time.
We're good to go.
Technical difficulties.
But we're good to go though.
Fuck technology.
Whoa.
Made me sick.
Hey. Breathe a little. Have yourself some whiskey.
Give me some good drops of Diablo, man.
Whoa. Not the time or place. Save that for the stream. Hey, young world. I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is The Blank with Carlos and Ryan. Welcome to another week, another episode, another topic with the two hooligans you love to love. Thank you for joining us this week. This week's topic may be a serious one.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, might not have as many laughs as you may anticipate. But it might get deep. This might be our deepest episode yet.
It could be.
It could be up there. So who knows? We'll see. But for now, thank you for joining us. Ryan, do you have a few kind words to start off the episode this week?
You guys know me. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Woo!
You guys know me by now. I love Thursdays, so happy Thursday to everybody. Thank you for joining another week, another episode. Whether you're listening it tonight or tomorrow, happy Friday as well. A couple of things I just want to shout out to. I got two good buddies' birthdays actually today, so happy birthday to you, Terry and Brandon. You guys are my homies, family. Happy birthday to you both. You probably aren't listening, you motherfuckers.
I was gonna play some emotional music in the background.
It is all good because it is what it is. But happy birthday, another year. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Oh no, I'm not even gonna say that, man. I'm gonna bait his scene.
Oh, Jesus.
You can say it, but first off, congratulations, motherfucker.
Okay. Jesus. Congrats to our homie and homette. I don't know if they want their names out there, but y'all know who you are. They got engaged this past weekend. Congratulations. We love you. Can't wait to go to the wedding. I want to put in my first ballot to host the after party. I will put in my name in there. I will be great. Hell, I will even get myself ordained to be the minister for your wedding. I will do that. I will throw my name out there. I am putting my name in the ballot.
Oh, shit.
Please consider.
You hear that?
You heard that. You heard it here first. This is a blank exclusive. You heard it here first. I just wanted to throw that out there. But congratulations, you two. All the best.
Congratulations to the both of you.
Yes.
For sure. Love you both.
Yeah. And on to this week's news. Dun dun dun. U.S. is going to open the borders.
Yes.
Early in November.
Are you excited for that?
Yeah, looking to turn up a little bit, you know what I mean? Visit our homie in New York over there.
Yeah. Definitely
yeah.
Down. I'm excited for that.
That'd be good, man. Have the Americanos come in and
Do we know if we're allowed to go with mixed vaccines?
That's
because some countries are like not.
They're pretty specific. I think that's okay. I think that should be okay. I know somewhere in the Caribbean, I believe they're pretty strict about it. Like it has to be the same.
Yeah. I was reading on Reddit, before this whole kind of thing was happening and people were getting their vaccines. And then they actually sent this one person home. They got on the flight from Canada. I think they went somewhere down south, somewhere in the Caribbean, whether it was like Mexico or something like that. But then they actually had to go back home because the country didn't allow the person to have mixed vaccines. So if you had a Pfizer and then one Moderna, you weren't allowed in their country. They didn't consider you fully vaccinated, which is like wild But I guess it makes sense because countries are allowed to make their own rules and regulations. So who am I to say anything?
Oh, I'm
But
just reading right now. It says those who do have the mixed vaccines are maybe blocked from entry.
so yeah, like
Uh-oh.
that's I have mixed vaccines.
I
and,
too
like,
have mixed vaccines.
in this case, it's going to be really interesting. It's like, are we allowed to go over? And like, I'm sure
why
that's for our
authorize it?
listeners.
Why
Yeah.
authorize the mixed vaccines if we're not allowed? Come on,
don't know.
man.
I don't know.
That ain't right.
Like, that's pretty bummy news.
That's
but
shitty.
what can
You
you do?
fucked up, America. Two of Canada's finest can't even enter your country now. Well, you know what? That's your fault. You're missing out. Whiskey. But yeah, I mean, I guess exciting news for Americans to come in to visit our home and native land.
I think we were letting them in for like at least
A
like
little
week, so for, like,
bit,
a little
yeah.
bit. But yeah, I know what
If
you
you're
mean. It'll probably be
blocked out.
open up a little bit more and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So it's not as strict. But
I'm hoping that a lot of like Canadians can go see their family and stuff like
Yes.
that now, because I know that, you know, I personally have family in America.
Mhm.
I'm sure that a lot of our listeners do happen to. So it's like, you know, get out there if you can. It's been a long fucking COVID era. So
Yes.
definitely get out there for sure.
Yeah. All right. In other news, Demi Lovato. He laughs because
Love bringing this girl up,
he
man.
knows how I feel about her. She seems nice. She raised news because she is a firm believer in the outer aliens. Let's just say it like that.
ETs.
Yes, extraterrestrials. Yes.
ET want to come home.
Why do you have to make things so sexual with everything? What the hell, man?
What are you saying, man? That's part of the movie. I've never seen the movie.
That's not how they said it. Let me know, ET. Let me
Yeah,
know.
let me
Why'd
know,
you
man.
come home?
You were free.
It's like,
What's wrong
oh
with these
no,
tuggies?
like I can't be here. Phone home, ET. Phone home. No, man. You probably have the FBI agents come by, just take me. This fucking dude's weirding me out. I think he's hitting on me. No, but she says that she finds the term aliens offensive.
Why?
Why? It's
Why
a
do
derogatory
you even
term.
say that?
Why?
That's the weirdest
She
thing
hold
ever.
on, you can't say that. She's like the UN speaker for aliens.
Is she actually?
No, motherfucker. What the fuck do I care what she thinks about aliens? Oh, it's an offensive term to say alien. Now, imagine that. Who are you? Where do you get off to speak on the extraterrestrial?
I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. That's actually like ridiculous.
Jesus.
Like,
Imagine aliens actually do come up to there. It's like, oh, hey, Demi she's been speaking for you guys. And they're just look at them. They're like, this bitch? Fuck that. No, thank you. Like, dude. Offensive term. What is offensive and what isn't offensive nowadays?
I think like, aside from human beings and stuff like that, but just to bring in fucking aliens.
Yes.
Like, I'm wondering if Demi, you know an alien. Like,
Right.
I'm speaking directly to
Like as if.
Do you know an alien?
Right.
Do aliens get offended?
Why are you holding back? You know what I mean?
Do ETs get offended?
Let the world know if you truly have an
Yeah,
alien cooped up
please.
in your home.
Please.
Because if it is offensive, we don't know.
Yeah.
We haven't met any aliens. How can we know? So if you are speaking on an alien's behalf, let the world know, Demi. You'd be doing the world a favor. You'd be doing Area 51 a favor. You'd be doing the US government a favor.
Why is it even news?
Because Demi has the time. That's all. You know, she just likes attention.
Like, I don't know. Like,
Or
Yeah,
apparently they like attention.
Demi, you got to be doing something right. You're a big name.
Yes.
I'm sure that, you know, I'm hoping you're happy, this and that, but it's like, that's just some weird.
Get your shit together is
That
what
is
he's
just
trying to
weird.
say.
That is a weird.
Come
fucking
on.
thing.
We go visit Camp Rock and let them do your fucking shit all over again. Weirdo. Come on. Alien, offensive to aliens.
Offensive to aliens.
Give me a fucking
God,
break. Anyways, the new Spider-Man, new Superman in the comic books is a bisexual now. The son of Clark Kent has come out as a bisexual.
What do you think about that?
I think it's forced. I think it's a bit unnecessary. Because I was reading an article and he raises a good point. Dean Cain, who played Superman on a TV show called Lois and Lane, was just like, it's whatever. It's like, dude, everybody is coming out these days. It's just forced. It's not natural. You know what really causes change is if you were to go to countries who are really against homosexuality and he fights against, and that Superman fights against that in the comics. Now that would be, something change worthy.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's not a bad point. It's not a bad point. But just like, dude, like, my thing is, I don't care if Superman is gay, straight, lesbian, whatever. I just want Superman to save us from if the asteroid is coming over to hit Earth, right? Is that too much? That shouldn't be a big plot point in the. That's all.
The weird thing about like the whole fictional characters coming out and like having like certain like gender or sexual preferences and stuff like that after the fact that these stories have already been created. I'm not talking about, futuristic Superman,
Right.
Maybe he's a gay robot
Right.
in the 3000s or
Who's
something like that, who's
non-binary.
non-binary
Yeah.
and he prefers all humans,
Yeah.
or whatever it may be. But it's like for certain stories that go in the past, and like now you're trying to change it and create acceptance for like everybody else. It's like that was a fictional story.
Right.
It was fiction. And for the people who don't know what the definition of fiction is, it is shit that is made up.
Whoa. Some people, that's real to some people.
That's
real to me, God damn it.
Like fiction is made the fuck up. I want you guys to understand that the writer wrote it in a certain way that they wanted it to write as of that point in time. Yes, we can definitely create new stories. I happen to have, new billions, whatever it may be. Yeah, new billions, new characters, ways of life, whatever it may be. But like having to go back and like try to get acceptance from like the society that I guess wants to accept Superman only if he's bi or like to feel accepted is weird. I think it's a weird concept. I think that all this stuff is fictional. Fictional was supposed to be it was written and meant at that point in time to be the person Lois and Lane, like you said before. It was kind of like Lois falls in love with Superman. It is considered a female male relationship. Like
that's
why are we forcing?
That's
like
not
you said,
even too much of a plot point itself. That relationship,
it has nothing to do with it. He's a fucking god.
Yeah,
like, rolls around the earth.
Yeah,
I don't know if he turns around time. Like he can
can
reverse time. Kryptonite, like all that kind of stuff was built. That's like saying like, man, like kryptonite's too masculine. We need to create a more feministic, like something that's gonna ruin Superman, like shit like that. It's like, man, that was built into the story, so please don't ruin that kind of stuff. It's like it's already meant to be written at that point in time.
Something should be just left untouched, is what you're trying to say.
Like it's
good the way it is.
It's weird, it's just a super weird thing. And I'm not new stories, if you want to go write a whole new story on how
or a brand new superhero
or something like that, then
have people follow. Don't try to change stuff that's already happened. It's concrete the way it is. There's no.
But I get it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with it. So.
Oh dear.
That's just me.
Ooh.
I don't know. We're getting controversial.
No, this episode's gonna be get your red flags ready, ladies and gentlemen. It's just pointed at the mark. Last piece of news on Mr. David Chappelle. Controversy still arising for him.
Mr. Guy DC.
Yeah. He apparently, so he has a few so Netflix is taking his side on things due to his artistic freedom to do so, and I commend them for that. They stand by his people. The Netflix stand by their people, and I respect that. Dave Chappelle, as some may know, he had a special recently called The Closer, where he said a few things about the transgender community that some people did not take well. There's some people are saying that he was spewing hatred. My opinion, I just think that it wasn't something he was spewing hatred for. It's just there was some points where he just didn't agree with some of the things that they were doing. There was not at one point I feel that he was doing something where it was, doing anything to demean them or to show that they're any less of people than we are. And I don't feel that that's the case. That's just my opinion. But yeah, there was just a whole lot of controversy surrounding that. So a few employees of Netflix were actually suspended due to comments that they had made on Twitter about the situation, but they were quickly reinstated. But a few employees are actually planning a walkout on Netflix due to not possibly removing or punishing Dave Chappelle for his freedom.
Do you think that these like colleagues are going to quit working for Netflix after they've come out and like publicly supported Dave Chappelle in this, what do you want to call it, like a special that came out? Like I haven't seen it personally yet. But I enjoy Dave Chappelle's stuff. I've been to his show.
Yeah.
He makes great work. And the thing about it is that like I just haven't put time into that kind of stuff. But I'm wondering if like now we're gonna have a whole community of like, whether it's like the trans community, it's gonna boycott Netflix, and then we even have internal employees that are willing to lose their jobs over, the support over Dave Chappelle and that special.
I don't know if they're willing to quit. I think the fact that they're okay to voice their opinion shows that they are they like where they're working. They just want change. I don't know if this is something worth protesting over. I don't even think this is something to be necessarily upset about, because it's not like because I know when I was reading an article, one person quoted saying Netflix literally has in their policy they would not post anything to spew hate. And in this case,
okay, interesting. Do they still have Weinstein movies on Netflix? Man, boycott that motherfucker, man.
Yes.
Is it true? Okay, so then we're all walking out there.
What's his face? Not Weinstein. The fucker with the island.
Epstein.
Yeah, they have a documentary on him.
Oh, but wasn't that like an informative?
It's a documentary,
a learning documentary.
You meant like movies?
Yeah, like movies. Weinstein.
Yeah, they have Weinstein movies.
So like Weinstein directed a movie.
It produced some of the greatest movies ever made.
Some of the movies that are out on Netflix. Are you watching it?
So you're supporting him. Yeah, you're putting money in his pocket.
This is the thing I'm talking about. Yeah. So like I get it. We can definitely have our voice. You have the ability to raise your voice, your voice, express your opinion.
Right.
Do what you can, but Netflix isn't in the wrong here because we're all in it for the money.
It's all oh Jesus Christ, don't say that. What do you mean? Try to get us in trouble here?
All for the money.
It's all about freedom of speech at the end of the day. All right. It's not about money. It's
I know how much money Netflix makes off Weinstein movies.
You know what? Freaking Dave Chappelle's last special, who the trans community weren't happy about, was like it's their most watched comedy special of all time.
Telling you, money in the bank.
Yeah, and the reviews for it were horrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, terrible. And funny enough, he actually won the Emmy, or sorry, the Emmy. He won the Emmy and a Grammy for that special.
Wow.
So, yeah, take that in. Oh, thank you, sir. But yeah, it's just about freedom of speech at the end of the day. I think it's important to. People are allowed to say their opinion, even if you don't agree with it. I think people should have the right to say something on a platform such as that or anything else. My thing is, if you don't agree with it, don't watch it. These are some people who are just like, you know what? Yeah. There's some people who truly just don't care. At the end of the day, it's on Netflix it's an application with tons and thousands of movies and videos. Why is that one on there bothering you? You see what I'm saying? Like, if you see it advertised on there, just move away from it. It's your choice at the end of the day. And Dave Chappelle had a quote here. I showed it to you this morning. Yes. I'll read that to you. I was going to bring up and it's the exact quote is, "Our culture has accepted two huge lies. The first is that if you disagree with someone's lifestyle, you must fear or hate them. The second is that to love someone means you agree with everything they believe, say, or do. Both are nonsense. You don't have to compromise convictions to be compassionate. I 100% agree.
Agreed.
I
And I'm
100%
hoping
agree.
that, as our listeners, whether you agree with that statement or you don't, I'm not saying stop watching us, but it's like open up the conversation for us to be able to learn from you.
Absolutely.
Whether you want to be I would lovely to have you as a guest.
Yeah.
Sitting here as a third person.
Or you can do via Zoom.
Yeah,
it's all good.
To open up that conversation for people, because for us to be able to enclose those conversations and go right to hatred, like the first part of that quote says, nonsense.
Absolutely.
Just like he says. So it's like, please understand that just because someone disagrees with you in certain things, Carlos and I disagree on certain things.
Quite a bit. We're still here.
But we're still here, and we can have this podcast together, and we still are partners in this specifically. It's like you don't always have to agree on everything.
Straight to cutting someone off simply because of that one aspect that you don't agree with. That makes no sense. You need to have that conversation to move past anything. I think that the fact that me and Ryan, who when we argue sometimes, it happens. And when we argue about this thing, it's like, all right, it's that one thing. Let's move on with our lives. That's all. It's nice to have that conversation because it goes to show you that, like, look, we'll disagree on one thing, but we understand that we have all these other things that we've been through and we're still here. We're still friends. That's all this is. So please, for anyone that's listening to this, Dave Chappelle, does that look like a man that would legit go out of his way to ban anyone's sexuality based on their sexuality or their preference? No, that makes no sense. Dave Chappelle is just out there making jokes. He's a comedian, a great one at that.
The GOAT,
some people may even call him. But at the end of the day, it's all he is. He's making jokes. If you find it offensive, all I'm saying is don't watch him. Don't try to protest to say that he must be removed or he must be, fired from doing things. It's, comedy is a risky career where they take risk in terms of life and in terms of the act that they're doing. Don't, fall into it. You have to understand you can't mix comedy with reality at the end of the day.
Well said.
Thank you, sir.
Very, very well said.
Yes, and that's all I got to say on the matter. But yeah, don't go protesting I don't know, just it's not worth the walkout. I think it's only going to be like 5 people at the end of the day that
protest Weinstein, man.
Yeah,
protest Weinstein.
Yeah, man.
Let me know.
Yeah, guys, protest R. Kelly more.
Ooh. I actually listened to his music today.
Did you? What song?
You remind me of something.
Ooh, damn, that's a good
Couldn't help it, man.
Dude, I know how you feel. It sucks, but at the same time, his music is so fucking good. Shit.
We're not gonna get too deep into Robert Kelly, but we've already spoken about our last episode. Go check our last episode out.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a funny conversation that me and Carlos have, and we have to bring it up every single time.
Yes, but here we are now. Let's get into the main course, which is nature versus nurture. Nature versus nurture.
So first off, Carlos, why did we agree, or why did you agree to do this episode? Because nature versus nurture is such a big fucking topic.
Oh, yes.
And we can sit here and talk. We could have a multiple fucking episode on this.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like, why do we agree? Why is this important? Why were you okay with this?
Well, Sierra made it seem so nice.
That's true.
It was a really good description in the email. So I'm just like, wow, I never thought of it like that. Let's talk about that.
Shout out to Sierra.
Sierra!
She's got a birthday coming up soon. So happy early birthday to you if you are listening to this. We'll definitely be shouting you out whenever your birthday is next week. So sorry, go ahead.
Yes. But no, it's a topic that can get pretty deep because like you said, it's a very big topic. and its subtopics can get each one could be quite deep. So yeah, I'm ready for it. I mean, I don't know how intellect wise I can speak, but we can yeah, we'll chat it up. We'll go about it because I mean, yeah, it's just about it's basically it's is it who you are or was it the environment that showed you who you really are, who made you really at the end of the day? Was it your brain or was it your friends? So that's what we're coming to find out.
So let's break down nature first. Let's just talk about nature so that we can at least give a description of what nature is, so that maybe for the people who have never heard this argument, because it is an ongoing argument in like psychology and like social studies. It gets back down to like Darwin. And for those who don't know what Darwin is, please go type his name into Google. All that stuff is big, but like
Darwinism is the
nature. Let's break down nature first. Carlos, how would you break down nature?
That's the one where you grow up and it's in your brain, right? That's you were born that way, right?
So I can blame it on my mom's.
Yeah, pretty much. My attitude.
I was trying to be 6'5", Ma.
Yeah, what the hell? Come on. It's just yeah, you basically grew up that way, the way that it's an argument saying that you grew up the way that you are. It's all in your mindset. You got it from your parents. They mixed up the DNA and then bloop 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 bloop. This is who I am. They can say my sexual preference is due to DNA. Why I'm the way I am, why I speak the way I speak. Some would argue that it's the other way, but that's nature to me.
So I was gonna bring up things like eye color, maybe
is that
height.
Something that can be nurtured?
I guess if you wear contacts.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like your natural eye color, like
yes.
The way that you come out as a baby, whether that like I don't know, progresses because I don't know, you're in a hotter country and maybe your eye color changes color due to temperature or something like that. I don't really know, but things like your natural hair color, your skin tone, your height, how big your feet are, your sock size.
It's legit one of the most serious episodes. You have to break that shit up.
Whether you got like straight teeth, a mustache, that kind of stuff.
Straight teeth is definitely something that's nurtured.
Oh yeah, like braces. But like, okay, so like the natural teeth that you come out as a kid, and let's say you don't touch it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that. So things like that. Is everything that like your two parents, the genes, or nowadays because we're so advanced in fucking science, what if you're like a test tube baby? And there's like certain genes that are brought in, but
that's nurture, no? Or do you consider that nature?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, because you're making the baby, right? You're literally adding whatever you want to said baby, whereas nature is just like it's a natural thing. You have sex and then you hope for the best when the baby comes out.
So that's like another like argument in itself. It's like, do you consider like this whole gene kind of you mess around with genes, like that kind of stuff, and like do you consider that nurture, or is it like the nature of things? But that's another one. But that's a great fucking argument, because that can be 100% considered nurture.
Because you're just like adding your own thing. You're making it, right?
And we're definitely gonna get into that. But that is kind of the end all be all. Your two parents, they created you. I don't know if it's like XY or XX, but I think XX is female and then XY is male or something like that. Right. So they create you. You have a certain eye color, your hair color, skin tone, whatever it may be, how tall you are.
Right.
That's like nurture. So like, nature. So give me what nurture is.
So yeah, just as I mentioned, either having someone or something having an absolute influence on you to either change or add to what you may become. So like me living in Toronto, I'm automatically a Raptors fan. Whereas, that's nurture. That's something that I was influenced by the area I'm living in. Or I could live it. If I was raised in Ghana, I doubt I'd be a Raptors fan. I doubt I would be watching basketball in Ghana. I'd probably be a soccer fan.
Yeah.
In terms of religious base, I even had this conversation with my mom a while ago. You know, she was she's a Christian, a devout Christian, like all of her life. And I asked her, like, like I'm a Christian. Even if I was anything else, I would still be a Christian. I'm like, Mom, if you were raised in Pakistan, do you believe that you would be a Christian? And she's like, she didn't really answer, but I'm like, I told her, like, yeah,
I can't see myself as a
probability, probability wise.
Most likely it would be though.
Yeah.
No offense to your mom.
What the hell? It's not. It's true. Probability wise, she would 100%. I would bet good money she would most likely be.
Oh yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. Again, it's nurture. It's about what you're influenced by to make you who you are. It doesn't have to be a direct influence like that. It could be a car accident that you got into, and now you freaking it doesn't have to do with not being in cars anymore. You could take up drugs since the accident really fucked you up. This is probably gonna get dark, but rape. Someone who gets raped by somebody may change their sexuality entirely. I know, what's his face? Milos Yiannopoulos. He's a conservative reporter who used to work at Breitbart. He mentioned he was sexually assaulted by a Catholic priest, and he says he blames that for his sexuality today.
Wow.
He is a homosexual now.
Wow.
Which is weird because he's actually against homosexuality. I don't know if he's trolling or I can't tell, but I don't know. But
whatever you're doing now, I hope you're doing
well. But do you feel sexuality is something nature or nurtured?
I personally think that it's nature, but I know that's something that we've always kind of gone back and forth with.
Yeah.
I personally think you're born with you're kind of born that way. I don't think it's a choice in itself. I think that when you're at a young age, most likely you just kind of know what you like.
Interesting.
And like that's how, I have personally friends that play for the other team or wear the other jersey kind of thing as like a joke that we say, but
they're gay.
Yeah, they're gay
or bisexual.
And every conversation I've ever had with them, it wasn't a choice. It was always something that they just knew from when they were younger. And I've had quite a bit of them. I would say I've definitely met a lot of them, and I've had conversations with them about it, and most of them, all of them, at least from my understanding, pretty much say, I just knew when I was younger. I picked up I was a different kid. I always wanted something different. I was more the quieter one. I didn't want to play sports and I'm not saying that gays, or if you're gay, then you don't play sports, but like there's certain aspects of when you're younger that you kind of realize that are a little bit different from what the norm is that happens to be at that point in time. So that's just my perspective on it. I know Carlos does feel a little bit different on that concept. So,
yeah, I would argue that it's nurtured. I feel it's a bit influence based. I just think that it's really the environment that you grow up in really makes you who you are. I think people who are more accepting of it, who are may be comfortable with homosexuality, may when you're younger you may explore that option to see like, hey, is this really who I am? I'm more comfortable with that way, then I'll just go the way I feel more comfortable with. It could, as I mentioned, the rape thing earlier, I feel like, what's that something, would happen to a person, then they'd be like, hey, you know what? I went through that trauma, and I just realized after that I'm gay. But a few other things, like, I don't know, just like if you are not a fan of your parents, and your parents are like, extremely hateful to homosexuals, this is your way of saying, well, you know what? I'm not going to go against your rules. I'm going to be gay just because I don't like you. That's something, it's not, you don't say it outright, but it's more of like a psychological thing on the back of your head. But yeah, I just feel that way. It's a bit nurture based, in my honest opinion.
One thing I would love to hear about it is that, you know, what your opinion is on it. If you are willing to be able to kind of come out and send us an email, shoot us a DM, because this is even one of those things that me and Carlos happen to kind of, you know, agree to disagree on.
Right.
We happen to go about it, but like, yet we're still boys.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
still
please,
hosting the podcast.
please.
Yeah.
No
walkout, no protests. Guys, have a
I'm
conversation.
not protesting him.
No, I'm not like I disagree with his point, but you don't see me just going, "Fuck you, son of a bitch." No, it makes no sense.
Cancel my special.
Yeah, fuck this. I'm hosting my own show called The Blah, and you host the Blah, and then you host the other with the Ank. No, it makes no sense. Just agree to disagree. That's all this is. That's all this is, baby. Yeah. No, that's just my take on sexuality. What about serial killers? Natured or nurtured?
I think it's definitely nurture.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's definitely nurture.
Oh, why do you say that?
I think that, like you said, in relation to certain things like traumatic experiences, you know, as a young age, maybe your parents didn't like do you all that well, or like you grew up in a terrible home, or maybe you were an orphan, or you have some sort of traumatic experience that like ruins your concept of like thinking. And I'm not talking about like mental illness right now, because there's definitely probably sociopaths with like a certain mental illness where they can't feel emotion,
right?
Stuff like that. But I think that
you think
traumatic experiences from when you're a child, that's what causes, you know, harsh reactions, which may be, I don't know, serial killing. But I think that serial killers are
nurtured
to the point where you can build or develop a mental illness.
Interesting.
That's my concept on things. So I would think that serial killers are all nurtured to that point.
Because I've heard arguments for both. Because I know that I'll bring up an example. There's a serial killer by the name of Ed Gein, I believe was his name. He very quiet, and then it's like he lived in a small neighborhood. Really quiet guy, never caused trouble. You know, people would say hello, he'd say hello back. It wasn't that he wasn't friendly or anything. He was just extremely quiet, and it was just him and his mom. And they went and they noticed his mother went missing for quite some time, and they noticed he wasn't around her. So they checked, like she didn't show up to work, and like they were just concerned. They showed up to his home, because him and his mom lived together, and they noticed skin was used as like freaking a light lamppost shade. Wow. And like as like a carpet. And it wasn't just his mom, it was like of multiple other people inside the home.
That's wild.
And they're just like, what the actual fuck? And they asked them like, why did you do it? Just like, oh, it's just something that was natural to me. I didn't really think anything of it. Like they did like test on him. There was nothing really psychological about it. He wasn't like, beaten as a kid. He wasn't, nothing really, like he wasn't bullied, it was just, he just lived a practically normal life, and he wasn't really affected in any way to do the things that he did. He just did it like nothing happened. So, because normally, like, and like you mentioned, the sociopaths are like affected by this, but this dude's a clear sociopath who had no idea what the fuck was right or wrong in this situation. He thought that what he was doing was perfectly normal.
Yeah.
So it's just like he grew up naturally killing people and skinning them and using it as, furniture.
Yeah.
So it's like
wild.
Yeah. So situation like, this is just argument for natural in this case. And even there's some, there's these two kids in Britain that killed another kid, and they hid his body, and they didn't think anything of it. Right. No trauma, nothing really affected them to do the things that they did. And they didn't think anything of it. They ended up getting arrested, or not. Well, they're just kids, so they don't really get arrested, but their identities are literally hidden. And, so shit like that is just like, what the fuck, you know what I mean?
So do you think that it's natural? Like, do you think it like stems from like your parents or like your grandparents' genes that are brought down to you to be like a serial killer?
Yeah, because I've heard arguments for both, so I'm not really sure. It really depends on every situation. Because I've seen the serial killers who blame their parents for who they are, who, have grown up in really shitty situation and blame let's see, what's the name of a group of those dudes who freaking don't get laid and end up killing people for it?
Incels.
Incels. So people like that, I've seen, obviously that's a nurture situation where they blame the world for not getting laid, and their influence is that, oh, I need to, you get laid in high school or college. That's just a thing to do. But if it's not happening to them, then fuck it. I have nothing else to live for, and neither do these people. So I've heard arguments about that. Whereas nature-wise, they possibly could have just grown up the way that they are, simply because maybe their dad has had it, or their mom had a temper, and the temper has rolled onto you, and it just exploded in this case with mixing up with the teenage hormones and whatnot. So no, this one's a tough one for me. I can't really make a decision because I've heard arguments for both, and both make perfect sense.
Yeah.
So it's a toughie for me, because some days I could just be like, well, no, I won't say some days. I'll say that in most cases I can see one being natured based on their backstory, and other being nurtured. Yeah.
So it's like a mix of both, kind of.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, just depending on the situations that are involved, right? So, yeah, that's a toughie for me. That's a toughie. Sports.
I would like to say a little bit of both. I think a little bit of both. I think that this is actually one of the things I wanted to talk about as well, but there's only so much athletic ability that you can obtain from your parents.
Right.
But if you're not in the place or the environment to be able to allow you to excel at those sports, or like even try the sport out, maybe your country doesn't even play that sport,
right,
then you have no realistic idea. I think that there's definitely a nature standpoint from, how athletic you are, your muscle like built, the way that your bones are, stuff like that. And I'm not an anthropologist. I'm not what's like the medicine, like sports medicine kind of thing, kinesiology. I'm not a kinesiologist. I'm not any of that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that you gained somewhat of your athletic ability from your parents if they are playing sports. And I'm not saying this is every time, because there's definitely anomalies. There's definitely people that, maybe your parents were Olympians and you just, man, you have no sense of fucking you can't even tie your shoes, kind of thing, like that kind of stuff. There's definitely situations like that, but I think that majority of it is that you gain from your parents.
Right.
If your parents are somewhat active and athletic, then you'll somewhat build that. But yet again, anomalies, and then also nurture as well. To talk about the nurture argument, people just fucking, you learn. Like, the great thing about human beings is that we're all smart fucking individuals. Right. You have a brain that's fucking going 100 miles an hour with all these like synapses, like touching each other, learning certain things. Yeah. And if you work your ass off, you can definitely be healthy and active, kind of thing. And if you just kind of put that stuff together, it will sometimes work, I would say. But I would think it's more nature than it is nurture. But what do you think?
Yeah, just in terms of, I would say nature is just your natural ability for what your body can do. You know what I mean? As you mentioned, not everyone's going to have the muscles with the bones or be as tall as you can be, situation. But, the more you go at it, the more it's what you got to do with what you got. Right. So, the more you train, you might grow more due to the jumps that you try to go with at the rim. You're obviously can gain muscle from working out the gym. With the more you train your body, the more, it can be but what if training and all that, what if that's nurturing? Because it's not really your natural state.
No, definitely training is definitely
Nurturing.
nurture for sure.
But it's just a matter of what your body can attain, I guess.
Nature would be more of like at a young age, there's like those quote unquote like savants in like basketball and soccer.
Their
like,
ability to, I guess.
Yeah, their ability to just like play it naturally, like this and that. Like I actually have it's my brother's friend, half Cambodian kid, half Italian. The kid's like, I think, well, now he's probably a little bit older, but when we heard about him, he was probably about like 8 to 10 years old. But he actually got scouted by Barcelona out in London.
Holy shit.
At like 10 years old. Like they sent a scout from Europe to go watch this kid at 10 years old play and then bought the rights to him at an early age.
Jesus.
So it's like at 10 years old, how have you played what? You've only started walking about 4 years ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago. And then now you're already
on a team,
quote unquote, a star in soccer.
Right.
You've already been scouted by one of the most greatest soccer teams in all of history.
Yes.
At like 10 years old, let's say.
Yeah.
And this actually happened. I'm not even fronting. This is a real story. But now he plays in Europe. Literally, his parents are fine. The team pays for his parents to live in Europe, but all he does is play soccer now, and he's considered a savant in soccer.
Jesus.
At 10 years old, it's like, how do you have enough experience in soccer to even be the way that you are, kind of thing? So it's like that's definitely like an anomaly. It doesn't happen.
100%.
That's probably a 0.001 chance that it's ever going to happen. But I think that the natural ability that whether his parents happen to give him, whether it's the genes to play soccer, I think his dad played soccer back in like, high school and college, and his mom, I think, is more of an athletic type of person. I think that adds to it, definitely. I don't think that it takes away from it whatsoever. I think that it definitely adds to the, your off breed. And that's when we're talking about certain things like nurture. I think it's harder for kids in sports, and like me being in sports and Carl's being in sports, part of our lives, it's like we know how it works, like sometimes we're just good at something and sometimes we're just not, it is.
Wow. So, interesting.
One of the topics I actually wanted to bring up, and like this may get a little bit fucking dark, because it is, during a terrible era. But when Nazi Germany happened to host the Olympics one year. And for people who don't happen to know, and I could have this wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things with Hitler is that he wanted to create like the great Aryan race, and to say that, this race is going to be the best of the best. No one can beat us athletic wise, this and that, all that kind of stuff. And then it was Jesse Owens.
And there's a person in Mississippi listening right now, like, woo, yeah, hell yeah.
And Jesse Owens, even during the time of being suppressed in your own fucking country.
Yeah.
That's besides that.
Right.
But Jesse Owens was brought to Germany to, compete in the Olympics against this Aryan race that Hitler happened to create, or to have, and say that Germans are supposedly the best. And Jesse always comes out for Olympic medals.
Yeah. Middle fingers up as he's crossing the line.
Fuck y'all.
Yeah. What's up? And he crip walk all the way to the end and whatnot.
Definitely Jesse. He happened to nurture himself to train and all that kind of stuff, but gets into the natural ability. There's a saying that like blacks and like Africans are just better at running.
Hell yeah!
Than any other race out there. There's only been, I think, in the last like couple of years, and quote me if I'm wrong, but this is something that I did happen to read. But there was only 1 or 2, white race people that ran under 10 seconds in 100 meter. And then you're going up against guys like, Usain Bolt, Andre DeGrasse, all the American runners that we happen to have. They're all running under the 9. Coincidentally, they all happen to be black. So it's like, there's something natural about that concept where it's like you just aren't there in comparison. So I think part of that is like it is definitely nurture because those guys train their ass off, and I'm not taking away from that, but it's like black runners usually do better at running events. And it shows to things like that. So like, fuck you, Hitler. Jesse Owens came out and won 4 Olympic medals in
Hitler
front of
didn't
you.
shake his hand when.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. So fuck him.
Wow.
But things like that. So I consider that nurture. But
Interesting
concept.
Interesting indeed. Yeah, I mean, Jesse Owens did his thing back then. You know, this is Nazi Germany we're talking about, so that was like a huge risk he took. They
probably had snipers on the dude, man.
I can shoot him. I can shoot him. Nice.
They were definitely waiting.
No,
like this motherfucker runs the 100 meter.
Let him be.
Yeah,
we learned a good lesson today.
But a very interesting topic.
Oh yeah, for sure. So in terms of like kid geniuses, like are they naturally born the way that they are, or just not but just geniuses in general? Are they born?
That's an odd topic because like I think I watched like a documentary on like savant kids a while ago.
Yeah,
and their parents weren't. No offense, but like their parents weren't all that. They weren't
geniuses themselves.
Yeah, they weren't geniuses themselves. Yeah. So it's like, where the hell did this kid come from?
Yeah.
And I think that there was like a link between like autistic children and like savants where like they could be like a piano savant, but things like they have autistic like, you know, traits about them. And I could have that wrong. So, you know, please correct me on that. But it's like they're definitely something natural about that, I guess. Maybe like the certain genes just kind of came together and like fucking made this fucking autistic savant kid, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But it's wild. It's actually wild, the conversation between like how is it this kid that came from us? Like, oh, he's a super genius.
Right. So it's just, you know, it's interesting because even the reverse, there are these 2 space engineers, really genius people. The mother was pregnant with a child at the time, was still working on making this space engine for NASA, I believe. And while doing that, her water broke and she ended up giving birth. And guess who the child was? Jack Black.
Really? Yeah, but Jack Black's a fucking...
Jack Black is great, but he's no space engineer.
I honestly think he could be, though.
What?
If he wanted to.
You think he's that intelligent?
I honestly think Jack Black's super intelligent.
I think Jack Black is entertaining as fuck, and him becoming an actor was an excellent choice. He has done he is hella successful. Where, you know, in the eyes of like any other parent, it would have been like, oh, this is a disappointment, because he could have been something special due to what his parents were. Legit space engineers for NASA.
He did something special, though.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. He used what he got, what his quick wit, his funniness, and became very successful at it. Extremely successful. Where people I imagine people would shoot him down.
So you don't think do you think it was nature with him? I think it was nature.
You think so?
100%.
He was naturally born.
He was naturally born to be a star.
Interesting.
A star doesn't consider you being a NASA engineer. He's a fucking star.
Really?
Jack Black is a savant on the guitar.
Oh yeah,
like
hella, dude. Tenacious D is like one of the
a fucking wonderful person to market himself.
Right.
You know, and from what I hear, he's a great person.
I've heard
too,
as
so
well.
I don't. Yeah, man. I 100% think it's natural. His parents did a great fucking job.
Interesting.
Giving him those genes to be the stud that he is.
Yeah, I mean, I could argue nurture. I mean, just like he saw his parents like, I don't want to do that. That's just weird to me. You know, maybe he could have the genius intellect that he was born with, and he's just like, not for me. I'd rather not do that. Thank you. You know what I mean? Not like born the way it is. He just saw what they were doing. Just like, I'm more so. He could have just listened to a Led Zeppelin album when he was younger. Just like, no, that shit's dope. I want to do that. Right?
I personally think it takes genius to be someone like Jack Black.
You think so?
I think so. 100%.
He is multi-talented.
Multi-talented, sing, act,
yeah,
play the guitar.
Yeah.
Also a good person.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's genius. I don't think that like there's probably celebrities out there that aren't fucking, you know, multi-talented and like not like that. But I definitely think that the parents of Jack Black being fucking smart as hell, they attributed to his intellect for him to be able to kind of learn about the guitar and like acting and being the person that he happens to be.
So what you're saying is that he is a genius and he was born that way. He just used that genius in on the completely different end of the spectrum.
Exactly. That's exactly what I think.
Wow. All right. That's not bad. That's a good argument. Yeah. Which is true, because I mean, like, not many people can do what Jack Black can do.
Who doesn't know Jack? Who doesn't know Jack Black? Yeah. Jack Black's done a
name
wonderful
comes up.
job. Yeah.
School of Rock. They'll probably say
Tenacious D.
Jumanji.
People know.
Yeah,
Jumanji, like, know. People know who he is. He's done a wonderful job of promoting himself. The genius way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Ooh, dear. Interesting. Yeah. Because I read that fact. I'm just like, space engineer. That always blew my mind. It's just like, you would think Jack Black's parents were like hippies that were, you know, probably smoking weed all the goddamn time. But no, they were full out, like, you know, Mensa geniuses.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's actually wild. That's a wild stat.
Both. And we're talking mom and dad, not like one or the other. They're both legit geniuses, rocket engineers, rocket scientists. But yeah, that's, nature versus nurture, man. Wild shit. Wild shit. Do you think social media has an influence on people, you would say, on the way they think?
Oh, of course.
Oh, so you don't think that people would, even without social media, they wouldn't be the people they would be today?
No, definitely not.
Oh,
social media has ruined y'all. Every single one of you guys. Yeah. We're gonna end the episode now.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, no. Well, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of social media.
Yes, you made that known.
you can tell by trying to look me out.
Yeah.
But in this case, it definitely plays a huge role on exactly how individuals happen to think. You know, the exposure that they happen to expose them to, the people that they hang out with, you know, whatever that they're doing currently on social media definitely plays a huge role on exactly how you think, what you do, your pressures,
really,
all that kind of stuff. I think 100%.
So you're saying without social media, we wouldn't have the whole him, he, or her, he, and maybe even the gender influence or the whole.
Well, I think we probably would. I just don't know if it would.
You think so?
We probably would, but I don't think it would be as largely spread. Things get spread, and this is aside from the nature nurture conversation, but like the concept of technology and how accessible it is to the masses. You know, whether you're an 80-year-old woman with a cell phone, or you're a 10-year-old kid on YouTube, like things like the concept of, like, you know, fluid gender, open sexuality, like all that kind of stuff is open to you now because you have access to technology. That definitely influences how you're thinking growing up. Whether you make a decision on it, that's aside the case, but to be talked about, like, we didn't have things like YouTube when we were younger, realistically.
Yeah.
I didn't think about fucking anything other than what like was being promoted on like MTV.
Right.
Like MTV, BT, much, all that kind of stuff was our social media in relation to, like, you know, music and stuff like that. Right. Now you can easily go on to, you know, Spotify and go look up somebody's new album. We had to wait for it to be in the top 10.
Yes. To hear something.
To hear something kind of thing.
And so it's like the store to buy the music.
Yeah.
Legally.
It is a different lifestyle, and like technology's kind of opened that conversation up where it's like those things can be accessible, also influence at a mass. And I definitely think that social media is the fucking devil.
Oh dear.
In relation to influencing certain individuals, whether they're conscious or unconscious of it, to a certain degree.
That being said, please follow us on the Instagram. We are there. We would greatly appreciate your support on Anchor, Spotify, YouTube. Although you are the spawn of Satan, please use those apps to support your boys. Thank you.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah,
for
that's
God's
funny.
sake, for fuck's sake.
Carlos actually takes care of all of our social media stuff.
Yeah, that's gonna be a nightmare now.
I'm not there.
Yeah, you don't say. You don't say. Jesus. Yeah, man. Just yeah, I guess social media, I would 100% agree, is a huge influence on the way people think now. I think that a big narcissist came about definitely because of social media with the whole selfie thing. It really, if you just take a picture of yourself and you have to take like 20 tries to really get it right. It's just a lot of that. And I don't know naturally people would be born that way. I think it's definitely just a huge influence of, oh, this person's doing that, maybe I should do that. In some cases, some people may have just been like, oh, you know what, I'm definitely prettier than her. Hold on, let me just take this selfie real quick and see if I can. Just a natural, it's just not, they naturally just feel. Some people are just narcissists and just like they're naturally a narcissist. So I don't even know, are narcissists even nature and nurture?
Well, I was about to ask you. So like, do we, as one conversation, I would love to hear from everybody that's listening. Do you think that social media creates more narcissism in society?
Or are just these narcissists,
or do they just exist and then social media is giving them the outlet?
Platform.
Yeah, exactly. So social media is giving the outlet. So it's like, tell us what you think. Hit us up, Instagram, Gmail, whatever it happens to be. But no, you're right. That's a huge topic. Like narcissism. Like I would love to know, like, since Facebook rolled out, narcissism or like narcissistic aspects in relation to being, qualified as a narcissist by, a psychologist or like a trained, whatever it may be, social fucking worker or whatever it is. If that number has grown since the release of Facebook or since the release of Instagram, that kind of stuff. Those statistics definitely are probably out there. I definitely need to do my job more to be able to kind of reach those statistics, but that's an interesting thing. Definitely. And I truly think that it probably is. I'll be honest with you. Maybe things like nurturing. So like you open up Facebook, you open up Instagram, creates a line of narcissists. And then when those narcissists have babies, they're naturally ingrained to be a narcissist. So like certain things like nurture in the past have now created nature in 2040 or 2050
with all these baby photos coming out. They've been taking photos since birth.
Trust me, man.
I 100% get it. So they'll be even bigger narcissists than their parents because their parents weren't not naturally a narcissist but they were influenced by social media.
And then now they're
a narcissist, but not as big as the child will be because they were legit influenced with the social media thing from birth. I get you. I get you.
Or do we only leave nature still to things like colors of your eyes, hair color, skin, that kind of stuff?
Because you can chop hair. Well, I mean, with everything going on, you can change all that too. That can be nurtured. You can you can change your skin now. Apparently, some people do that. Dye your hair, get surgery, maybe even change your eye color, wear contacts. Yeah. You can change anything.
So weird.
It's a weird world we're living in, pal. I was reading an interesting fact, how these two brothers were raised by an alcoholic father. And it really played a role on them, really fucked up their lives. Twin brothers. And they and then eventually their father passed away, and they grew up. One of them ended up being doing pretty well for himself, like six-figure income. The other ended up being homeless, and they asked them separately, why do you think it is the way that you are? And they both said, because my father was an alcoholic.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like natural. So naturally, one goes to homelessness due to the abuse that he suffered from his father, where he's just like, my father just told me I was worthless, so I have to do what I have to do.
That would be nurture, though.
Is it? Or are they naturally going to? Because I feel like they're naturally. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess in the argument I mentioned,
it's like, because if his dad wasn't an alcoholic,
yeah,
then it's like, and they still end up the exact same way. I don't even know what to call that argument, but
is that
because they had an influence after they were born, alcoholism from your family, you've picked and chosen a route to go. One of them happens to be very, very successful. One of them happens to be not so successful. I would consider that a nurture.
What if the son who was homeless and also an alcoholic was influenced from, well, not, I wouldn't say influenced, but got this trend from his father? Just like maybe he suffered from the alcohol bug just like his father did.
Yeah, that's true.
Naturally. And whereas the other son who's just like, yeah, I don't want to do that.
He could be an alcoholic though.
Who,
the rich guy?
You're right. He could be an alcoholic.
He could be an alcoholic. Yeah. But nurture didn't get him to that point where he happened to be
successful,
an alcoholic.
Right.
He chose to turn away from it. I don't think that's a natural aspect, because if it was natural, then both of them would have been alcoholics.
Sure.
No matter how they ended up, whether it was money in your pocket, money not in your pocket, but you both would have been alcoholics.
You think both of them could be still, if it's
nature, yes.
Really?
Yeah, I think nurture happens to cause those decision makings for you to be able to kind of like, change in life because of what's happening in your lifestyle.
Well, I mean, it could be that maybe the rich guy maybe got the brains from the mom's side, right? It could be that his mom maybe not have been a drinker. He could have gotten naturally from. You can argue that, right?
Definitely.
It's just in terms of it was interesting to see that part, because two complete ends of the spectrum with the brothers, both influenced by the same factor and both handled it extremely differently. So I just look at that and just like, huh.
But what if it was vice versa? Let's say if like the bum son was like, yeah, I did it because of my dad, but he's not the alcoholic. But so I just didn't turn out well.
So you're saying the father?
Yeah, the father,
no drinker.
The father's still an alcoholic, but I just turned out fucked up because it wasn't because of the alcoholism, but it was because I'm naturally. But then the rich guy took the alcoholism, but then turned it into like a fucking Jack Daniels.
Yeah. Okay.
And was like,
yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, like
I get you.
I'm the man.
He just had a better idea, is all. He just he just thought it differently, right? Again, it's at the end of the day, they maybe have the same father, but they're two completely separate brains, and both of them used it differently. So it's a matter of I guess you can say it's nurtured. They're nurtured to some they went to school and they were influenced by by a completely different crowd, right? Some the successful son probably hung out with the successful crew, and the the homeless guy hung out with the cool kids who really didn't want to do shit, or it could have been vice versa, and they grew up out of their funks or whatever the situation they're at, and they either worsened from it or they did better from it.
One of the last things I do want to kind of touch about is diseases. You as an individual, a lot of people say that my family has a history of dementia, or my family has lung cancer in the family, kind of thing, or whatever it may be, diabetes, whatever it may be. We have that in the family. One of the sorry for the background.
Police,
but
they're on to us. You'll never catch us alive. Fuck this shit.
All right, it's almost gone.
Free Dave Chappelle.
So one of the things that I actually learned about over the last couple of days was this disease called Huntington's disease. And Huntington's disease, and for anybody who doesn't know about it, it's pretty much where your brain cells they start to deteriorate by itself. You can't do nothing about it. Modern day science and human beings don't have a cure for it. There's realistically nothing that you can realistically do. And from what scientists can kind of put together is that it only takes one kind of part of your DNA, like one gene, that mimics to your, your birth, like your kid, that can have Huntington's disease. It's not a guarantee that you're going to have it, but I don't think it's most, but there's a chance that if your parents had it, then you will have it. Things like cancer, if you have certain cancers, like a stomach cancer, like a genital cancer or something like that, there's definitely a chance that it can be passed on to your off-breed, but potentially it cannot. Definitely one of the things that happen to kind of talk about, genetics and like whether it comes from your parents or not. What do you think about like things like dementia, things like, cancer? If my parents had cancer, it's like, man, do I just like kind of fucking give up now? Like, I already know what I'm supposed to go through. What do you do at that kind of point? Like, is that part is somewhat nature, but then like we talk about like nurture, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm kind of over the place, but like things like, let's say like smoking, like and things of smoking. So when you happen to pick up a pack of cigarettes, we know that there's a higher chance of you may not get lung cancer, but you have a higher probability of having lung cancer if you do happen to smoke. Things like nature versus nurture. And it's like, where do we go as for diseases? What do you think about that?
I think it's nature, all of it. I think regardless if you are going to smoking or not, some people are more susceptible to lung cancer than others. So if you smoke more, then it increases your chances and you could get it. Whereas others who smoke may not be as susceptible due to their system. I think it's all natural in terms of the whole disease situation. It has to be natural. I don't know. It's just for me. It's your bloodstream. It's your, your brain cells. It's what you got in your body that really influences what you get, right? So you could be born, you could have the, God forbid, if your mom had cancer and you were born with the exact same, DNA and traits as your mom, then you're probably going to get cancer as well. But it's all natural to me. I feel so. But what about you?
There's definitely, I kind of agree with that, because there's definitely people out there that don't happen to smoke a cigarette in their life. Maybe take in very, very small amounts of secondary, secondhand smoke. And there's people that happen to smoke their whole lives and then don't get lung cancer. And there's people that happen to maybe inhale secondhand smoke maybe once in their life or never at all. And they still get cancer. So I agree with you. I think that it's very much a natural thing that if it falls into, whether your family's had it in the last 10 years or something along those lines or whatever it may be. But that's another one of those things that potentially can be like, it was nurture at one point where, let's say if I smoke 2 packs a day and then I get lung cancer and then I have an off breed, does that child have more of a susceptible gene to get lung cancer.
Hmm.
And that's kind of like a crazy kind of thing. And then it starts as a nurture and then ends up being nature. And then now I have lung cancer in my family if I choose to, have a kid.
Interesting.
Side concept.
Yeah.
But,
okay. I have a last topic for you. It relates to us being who we are today. Now, I will tell you this about my history. For those who are listening and are watching, growing up, people have considered me whitewashed, if you will, by the way I speak. But I did grow up in the Jane and Finch area, and I've always spoken like this, always. And and in the Jane and Finch area, obviously, they use more, slang and more, colloquialism, both the same thing, whatever. But yeah, they always spoke the way they spoke, and I spoke the way that I spoke. I literally grew up in that area, went to school in that area all my life, and I always spoke the way that I spoke. Now, in terms of influence, yeah, I feel like I've been influenced by a few things, in terms of the music I listen to and like, the shows that I watch and things like that. But in terms of your case and mine, do you feel that you are naturally, regardless of area you're supposed to live in, do you feel that naturally you were going to be this way? Or do you feel that you were nurtured to be the way that you are today?
me, myself, like personally as
Ryan,
me being here,
yes.
I think it's probably a bit of both. And I think that I almost wanted to say that it was like 100% nurture, but I think it's definitely a bit of both. I think that my mother played a huge role in relation to the person that I happen to be, in relation to things like respect, emotion, expressing emotion. I don't know, certain things like that. But in relation to like music, style, outside perspective, the way my haircut is, that kind of stuff, it's definitely played a nurture role. I think it's definitely nurture in that case. I got influenced by the majority of the people that I hang out with, the people that I've been around my whole life, that kind of stuff. And what they influenced them kind of like influenced me, and then it got brought down as we happen to go. So definitely a bit of both. Definitely, I would say.
Interesting.
And what do you say about yourself?
Well, I say this because I'm gonna, kind of expose my father a little bit, but it's whatever. He can be a bit stubborn at times, and he's always been like that. So it's just like my thing is I can be stubborn as well. So it's just like, was it because was I born stubborn because of him, or was I influenced by his stubbornness to be the way that I am? You know what I mean? It's just like that side, I really don't know. In terms of my interest, I think it's nurtured 100%. I don't think I would.
Me and my dad don't listen to the same music.
Yeah, no, we don't. No, we don't. We truly don't. I mean, like in terms of music growing up, all I watched was like BET and Much Music because that's what everybody was watching in the neighborhood. And then I moved to like Thornhill, and I got introduced to like Cascada and like techno, and like I would listen to a few tracks on there. I'm like, oh, it's not that bad, not bad at all. But yeah, it's just in terms of my interest of what I like, I feel that's nurtured 100%. But in terms of my personality, I could argue both nature and nurture. Because yeah, again, the stubbornness is a bit of an example. Just like, I don't know, like, was I truly, like, as a kid, did I look at my dad and I'm like, maybe I should try that and get that way? Or was I just born just like stubborn? And I don't know. I really don't know. That's a toughie for me. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think stubborn is like a nature aspect or a nurture aspect?
That's what I'm saying. I really don't know, because again, like the example I presented, this is like,
let's say like you didn't have, like, let's say your dad's stubborn. Let's say your dad wasn't in your life.
Right. Why'd you laugh about that? Was there something funny about that? Was there something funny about that? Ooh, I was going into stereotype.
No,
territory.
man.
Oh Jesus! Holy
Let's
shit!
say your dad wasn't in your life,
Yikes!
man.
And then on the high note, let's end.
Well, that's the blank.
And that's well, this is the blank with Carlos and Ryan. Thank you for tuning in. This Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
We began this episode, risking our goddamn podcast career with the freaking, the LGBTQ community. And now we have the BLM movement trying to, holy shit.
Fucked.
Yeah, we're getting all kinds of emails after this shit. But yeah, go ahead with your example.
Let's say if your dad wasn't in your life,
Yeah.
do you feel like you would still be stubborn? Or did you were young and you used to see your dad act stubborn?
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like, this is maybe the way that I'm supposed to act. Being like a father figure. That's a real interesting.
Yeah, it's just I really don't know. I truthfully don't know if I'd still be stubborn if I did or did not have my father in my life. It's that's a toughie for me because it's just why is that so funny?
It's funny, man.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry. All right.
I'm gonna hashtag Black Lives Matter in our post, and then I'll get some support on my end. But yeah, no, fuck, that's a tough one. I don't know. I think my stubbornness is, or I don't know. Well, it's been an influence because it's just who I am at times. I was just, I don't know if I was born this way. I can't, or I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. That's a toughie for me. I have to, because I'm thinking about it, because I'm thinking from both ends, and both ends make sense. Because it's just like, I could have just been born the way I am with the way I think, and just like, I don't remember me being a kid and being stuck. I don't. Well, I mean, I remember being like a kid and remembering, being like in kindergarten, not doing shit because I just didn't feel like it. And, teachers being fed up with me, but that's because, my dad, I've seen my dad do shit, but I don't remember myself being like an actual infant and like rejecting something due to that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just, I don't know. Do you think personality wise, like in terms of whatever, like what's a thing about you that
well, the funny thing
your
is
ego.
I've been told I've been stubborn. I'm a stubborn person.
Really?
And I get that. Like there's definitely 100% situations where like I can 100% be called stubborn, and I know I'm being stubborn, and I get that. And people tell me because it's because of my mother. Like your mother's.
Is your mom stubborn?
Yeah, my mom's super stubborn.
Really?
No offense, Mom.
Oh boy.
But my mom's super stubborn. People be like, Ryan, like, if they happen to know me and then they happen to know my mom, they're like, okay.
Yeah, you're definitely Ryan's
kid. You're definitely Ryan's kid. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or, Lisa's kid or whatever, maybe your mom's kid.
Yeah.
And I get that. And it's kind of like, if I didn't have my mother.
I just corrected myself. I'm sorry. That was weird.
If I didn't have my mother in my lifestyle, would I be stubborn? And it's like, I don't know. I really don't know. Those are the certain things where it's almost just like maybe it is a little bit of both, where it's like your mother creates that base for you, and then you happen to go on in life thinking that fucking you're the shit. So I don't know, but it is one of those kind of end all be alls where maybe it's both. So, but Carlos, hold on. Give me your.
I want to go on the record to say that I know Ryan's mom is not named Ryan, so I just want to go on the record to say that. Sorry for the mistake
we
there.
don't have the same name.
Yeah, Ryan and his mother do not share the same first name, so just for the record.
Off the record, would you name your kid Carlos Jr.?
I don't know.
Because that's definitely a thing. Yeah. Right? Because it would have made sense if my mom's name was Ryan, and then she was like, I'm naming this motherfucker Ryan Jr.
Yeah.
And then I happen to be Ryan Jr.
Is that a thing? Like, if you had a daughter, would you name her Ryan Jr.?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but there's definitely people that do it from like
Sun to sun,
from
yeah.
sun to sun.
Yeah, or
But
father to son.
it could
I'm
be
fucking
from
up all this.
it could be
Your
from mother.
goddamn
It could be
Scott whiskey.
it could be mother to son though. It's not known about, but it could be though.
Is it? Is that a
I
thing?
would think it could be.
I don't know if that's a thing.
Maybe I'm gonna start that.
You're gonna name your daughter Ryan.
No, I'm not the mother.
Oh, you're unless
Come on, man.
Jesus.
Holy fuck.
I don't know.
The whiskey.
You
the whiskey.
Yo,
Quit hitting it too. Quit hitting it too hard.
Dude, legit, man. I am a mess right now. Fuck. What was I gonna say? Like, yeah, or in terms of answer your question, I don't know if I name my kid Carlos Jr. I think I just name him a different name, to be honest.
I definitely wouldn't name my kid Ryan Jr.
Really?
Never.
Why?
Never. I don't know. No offense to you other Ryans out there, but Ryan sucks.
Oh boy. I mean, that's
a
a
bummy name.
Ooh. Were you naturally born to hate that name, or do you feel that you were influenced by it that way?
It was definitely nurtured.
Oh,
that's for sure.
Damn.
I remember like in my grade 4 class, there was like 4 other kids named Ryan. Can you believe that?
Why does that bother you so?
It wasn't bothering me. It was just kind of like awkward. It was kind of like there was, and like, I don't think these guys are ever going to listen, but there was Ryan Bagley, Ryan Russell, Ryan Day, myself, and then somebody else. So like we had so many dudes, and I don't even remember why I remember those dudes' names, but shout out to those guys. I hope you're alive and doing well. But yeah, like those, like we had so many of them, and I remember just thinking, like, man, Ryan's such like a chump, quick name.
Damn.
And we'll probably do an episode on this because that's actually pretty interesting. But
your name is,
yeah, do you like your name?
That's interesting.
But that's it. Final
Okay.
thoughts, man. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Nature versus nurture. The WrestleMania event that we've all been waiting for. Who wins? To this, I'm still at I still don't know. I think this came out to being a motherfucking draw because this shit is we'll never have an answer for this. We'll never know what makes us who we are, but we will social media wise, because all you punk motherfuckers be on it too much and listening, following along with this celebrity. So chill out, all right? But yeah, in terms of nature versus nurture, yeah, we'll never know what makes us do the things that we do. We don't know what really makes us tick the way we tick, just it's good to have this thought process though, to keep your brain going, to make you think, do a little bit of research. But it's the never ending story that life has, nature versus nurture. And it's good to keep keep the juices flowing in your brain. It's good to research. So I would suggest, doing as much research as you possibly can on nature versus nurture. It really makes you think about yourself, what really influences you or what really makes you what you are naturally. But yeah, that's my final thoughts on nature versus nurture. And if this was like a boring episode to you, I don't fucking care. I'm not apologizing. Artistic freedom, bitches. Deal with it. What about you?
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
I thought it was a great episode.
Yeah.
And please let us know if you didn't like this episode, because it's definitely a little bit more of a conversation as opposed to the comedic stuff that we usually have on the line. But I definitely think it's a bit of both. I think that you happen to be, you may have brown color when you come out the womb, brown hair color when you come out the womb, but you happen to dye it red, and that's just kind of part of the culture or the fucking nurture that you happen to be going through. So definitely a bit of both. Prove me wrong, motherfuckers. We'll definitely go from there. That's all I gotta say.
All right then. Suwu to the death of me.
Recommendation?
Was that
Recommendations?
Oh, right. I was gonna represent the set before, but that's fine. Yeah, no, but I don't know. In terms of the set though, I feel like I was born a blood though. You can't it's not something you can be influenced by. You just you're born that way. You can't argue that with me because I'm right. I'm right on that one. Recommendations. 007 came out last week. So I haven't seen it, but looks good. Venom 2, that's out.
You see it?
I didn't see that either. I don't even know why I'm recommending this shit. I don't even know if I have anything off the top of my head. Oh, you know what's a song that's really good? Police by Joe Boy. It's a Afrobeat song. You should check it out.
Police by Joe Boy. Check that out, everybody.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. What about you? Any recommendations?
I'm gonna go with the restaurant that I didn't get to check.
You didn't go to it?
No, Dave's Hot Chicken, man. Dave's Hot Chicken. They only have 3 locations, and I think in the GTA, which is the Greater Toronto area in Ontario.
It's not Grand Theft Auto.
One in Leslieville. No.
Oh.
One in Parkdale. Please go check it out because I've never gotten to go there yet. I've been trying to go. I just been fucking terrible at making plans to go, but please go. Suppose it's super good if you like spicy chicken. Check it out. I'm a huge fan of spicy food, so I'm definitely gonna try and go as soon as possible. But thank you.
Yeah. Oh, also another one more recommendation. Don't drink whiskey before you go on a podcast because it fucks up your English.
Lot 40.
All right. Just one more. Pour one more before we go. There you go. A little bit of the bloop, bloop, bloop.
Do one mine.
All right. Cheers here. Smooth, super smooth. That being said, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Carlos, I guess.
And this is The Blank with Ryan and Carlos. In it, Phil.
It's all backwards.
Fuck's my